Okay, welcome everyone. This particular lesson we're going to be working on solving multi-step inequalities. So now we're moving from doing just one thing, whether it be adding or subtracting or multiplying or dividing, which is what we've done in the previous lessons, to now doing more than one step. So either a two-step or a multi-step equation. So you have to do multiple things. So let's go ahead and get started here. Okay. Um, There are 6 questions on this 5-minute check, so I'm just going to go through them. Again, pause where you need to work so that you can get those 6 done, and then there'll be 5 examples. So there'll be quite a bit more to do than what we've done in the past, but again, you guys are doing really well getting used to this, so let's just jump on that. There's the first one, there's the second one, there's the third one, there's the fourth one, there's the fifth one. Notice it's a word problem. And there's the sixth one, a word problem standardized question. Keep in mind, write your answers down so you can enter them into the Google form. Okay? So, now, what we've done in the past is in a previous lesson, we've actually solved multi-step equations. Now we're going to do solve linear inequalities involving more than one operation, and we're also going to solve them involving distributive properties. So still builds on things that you already know, so hopefully these won't seem so bad. Okay, so moving on to the next one. So we're going to start off with our real world example one. So we're going to solve a multi-step inequality. So basically what's going to happen here is you have a word problem, we're going to write it, and then we're going to solve it. They actually already wrote it for you, but you could do that. So Adriana has a budget of $115 for faxes. The fax service she uses charges $25 to activate the account and then 8 cents per page to send faxes. So how many pages can Adriana fax and stay within her budget? Now keep in mind her budget is this $115 that's up here. Okay? So you have to take the $25 she has to pay for the account and then the 8 cents per page that they charge her. And that needs to be less than $115. So you see a less than or equal to, that's where that equation came from. So now, what we're going to do first is here, we're going to subtract 25 from both sides because you want to get p by itself. Okay? And so when you subtract 25 over here, you get 0. You can't subtract it from here because it doesn't have a p. So you subtract it here and you get 90. Then you're going to divide both sides by 0.08, which is what they did next, and you get that p is less than or equal to 1,125. That means she can't send, the most faxes she can send is 1,125, and they've actually stated that for you there. Okay? Again, feel free to play this through or ask questions when you talk to me in class. Okay? So now here's one for you to do. Now notice again, they're giving you the inequality, so all you're doing is solving it. So Rob has a budget of $425 for senior pictures. The cost for a basic package and sitting fee is $200. He wants to buy extra wallet-sized pictures for his friends that cost $4.50 each. So how many wallet-sized pictures can he order and stay within his budget? And so it's the 200 that he's paying plus the 450 per wallet. Okay, so P per picture. And it has to be less than or equal to 425. So I want you to work that problem out. Here's a heads up. You're going to subtract 200 from both sides, and then you're going to divide by 4.5, and then see which one of those answers you get. Okay, again, feel free to pause when you need to. Okay, so now moving to the next one, we're doing an inequality, but now it has a negative coefficient. Keep in mind that coefficient is the number in front of the variable. Now, I noticed that in class today when we were working on this, some of you kind of got a little bit ahead of yourselves, and people were actually asking about this particular example where you have a minus 11d, so the variable has a negative number instead of a positive number. So now, for those of you who asked that, you actually get to see how that works. So what you've done is you have 13 minus 11d is greater than or equal to 79. You want to get rid of anything that's added or subtracted to the variable first. So that's why they're subtracting 13, because 13 minus this 13 here goes to 0. And then you're going to do 79 minus 13. Now you're going to divide both sides by negative 11 because you want b to have a coefficient of a positive 1. Keep in mind that when you divide by a negative number, you have to reverse the inequality. We talked about that in the previous video where you decide where you do it. Like I said, I do it in the very next step, but wherever you want to do it is fine. So when you do divide by the negative 11, you also flip the inequality because here it's greater than or equal to. Notice in the answer it's less than or equal to. So D is less than or equal to 6. And you can write that as the answer. You don't have to write the such that with the solution set. Okay? Now, here's one for you to do. Again, keeping in mind, you're going to subtract 3, and then you're going to divide by negative 8. So work this one out, and then jot your answer down. Okay, now here in example 3, we are actually writing and solving an inequality. So just be aware that'll be the next daily check. You actually have to write them because we haven't done that previously. Okay, so here you're going to define a variable, you're going to write an inequality, and then you're going to solve the problem. Okay, so it's 4 times a number plus 12 is less than a number minus 3. 4 times a number is your 4n, plus, of course, there's your addition symbol. 12, really easy. It is less than, so it's just this inequality. There's no equal underneath it because it doesn't say or equal to. And then a number minus 3, so that's where they get the n minus 3. Okay, so we're going to go ahead, and basically there's your equation they wrote. We're going to move the n, so we're going to subtract n from both sides. When you do that, you get 3n plus 12. So all we did was combine 4n minus 1n gave me 3n. And then n minus 3, we subtracted n from both sides, so there'll be no n's on the right-hand side. So you have 3n plus 12 is less than negative 3. Now we've moved the n's over here. Let's put the numbers on the other side. So now we're going to subtract 12 from both sides. When you do that, you're going to get 3n is less than negative 15. Then we're going to divide both sides by 3, and you get n is less than negative 5. And there you go. So there's your answer. Okay, so now here is one for you. Okay, so you're going to write the inequality, and they give you a couple of choices here, then you want to solve it. So you have 6 times a number is greater than 4 times the number minus 2. Make sure you're using the same variable on this number and on that number. Okay? Okay, so now here we're doing, in this particular example, we're still solving an inequality. Now we have a distributive property. So you notice this is where multi-step comes from. Lots of steps. So that's where this is going. So we have 6c plus 3 times the quantity 2 minus c is greater than or equal to negative 2c plus 1. So the first thing you want to do here is you want to get rid of the distributive, the parentheses. So we're going to distribute here. So we're going to bring down this 6c. We're going to have 3 times 2, which is 6. And then 3 times c is going to be minus 3c. I just carried the sign down. Okay? Now, we're going to leave that as greater than or equal to negative 2c plus 1. So you notice we didn't do anything to the right-hand side. Now, on this side, we're going to combine like terms. So we have 6c minus 3c. That's 3c. Okay? Now, we're going to add this. We're going to move this c over here because it's already on the left. So we're going to add 2c to both sides here. So you have a negative 2c plus 2c, which of course goes to 0. And then you have 3c plus 2c, that becomes 5c. So you have 5c plus the 6 that was already there is greater than or equal to 1. Now, this point, we want to move the 6 because we've already got the c's together. So since this is a plus 6, we're going to subtract 6. So we're going to subtract 6 from both sides, so you get 5c is greater than or equal to negative 5. Divide both sides by 5, so c is greater than or equal to negative 1. And there is your multi-step equation. I do realize it's a lot, but that's how that works, guys. There's usually not very simple problems, or, they have a lot of parts to them, so you need to be able to work that. And so then, of course, the next one is for you. Now, notice that you have parentheses on both sides of the inequality, because here's your less than. There's a parentheses here and a parentheses here. Here you're going to distribute. I would do -2, so you have 3p minus 2p plus 8. Hopefully you're catching on to that. And then here, this is actually a 1. So I would have p minus 2, because 1 times 2 is 2. And then plus, that's going to be minus a negative, which is the same thing as plus. 1 times 3p is 3p. And then from there, you just have to finish working the problem. Okay? Now, on this last one, what we're looking at here is we're looking at examples of, we usually get a number, but if you remember from where we did equations, sometimes you can get no answer or sometimes you can get lots of answers. And so what you're seeing here is you're seeing an example of that. So what they have here is your multi-step problem, with parentheses, the grouping symbol there, grouping symbol there. You're going to clean all this up. So what we're going to do is we're going to distribute here. So when you distribute -7, you get -7s minus 28 plus 11s is greater than or equal to, and you're going to distribute here. So 8s, and this is minus 4s, and then this is minus 2. Okay, because you're distributing that -2. That's what we're calling it. Now here you want to combine like terms. So if you have a -7s plus positive 11s, you're going to get 4s. And then the minus 28 came from here. Then here you have 8s minus 4s, which is 4s, and then minus 2. Now what we're going to do here, we're going to subtract 4s from both sides. When you do that, notice that all of your variables are gone. So what you're left with is -28 is greater than or equal to -2. Okay, well, first of all, that's not true. So guess what? This is what we call the empty set. This would be an answer of, we used to write no solution or many solutions or one solution. This is an empty set or a no solution problem. Okay? Now, here's another example. This is where you're going to see where all real numbers are what we used to call many solutions. So here you have 2 times the quantity 4r plus 3 is less than or equal to 22 plus 8 times the quantity r minus 2. Let's do distributive property first and get rid of that. So here 2 times the 4r is 8r, and then 2 times the 3 is 6. 8 times the r is 8r, and 8 times the minus 2 is minus 16. Now, before the left side we're going to leave okay, but what we're going to do on the right hand side, let's simplify this. So we're going to do 22 minus 16, that's where the 6 comes from. At this point right here, if you look at this, this is the exact same equation. 8r plus 6, 6 plus 8r. But if you didn't get that, they subtracted 8r from both sides, and then guess what? You're left with 6 is less than or equal to 6. That actually works. Now, if it had just said less than, that would have been a no solution. But because they had the equal to, it's now a mini solution or all real numbers. So this means that no matter what number you pick for r in this equation, it's going to work. That's where you get the all real numbers of the solution. And you don't have to write this out. You can just do many solutions or all real. Okay? And then the last one is there for you to solve. Okay? So again, some distributive property here and here. And here you're distributing a -1, so please keep that in mind. And then simplify, combine like terms. Here you have a number, you have a number. This is a real number or a many solutions answer. This is a empty set or no solution answer. So just to kind of remind you of what your choices are there. Okay? And, okay. Did I answer that? Okay, that was the first one. Here's the second one of those. Did I miss that? Oh yeah, okay. Okay, you guys have a lot more on this one than I thought. So, there you go. Okay. So, please take a minute and make sure you're doing these. I'm going to have to write this one down. I don't think I wrote an answer down. So that's why it's taken me a little bit, because I'm going to have to put an answer in for that one. So you have them all represented. Okay. And then, so get an answer, enter that. And then guys, you're actually done. Okay. That's totally it. You're there. Good to go. Okay. So we'll see you on the next video.